So if you are choosing to do your research on pelicans, I want you to go ahead and print out the graphic organizer that I have attached so that you can fill it out as we go. I'm going to go over real quick the questions that are on this graphic organizer. They're just questions that I think are important to think about when we're researching animals, just some basic information that we need to make sure we have in our papers. There's also a ton more information that you can include. So our graphic organizer on the top, you should see that it says pelicans because that's what you're researching. The next part has a question where it says, where do they live? So what you're going to do is as you're listening to the videos, watching the videos, and as you're reading the articles, if you hear anything about where do they live, you're going to write it in that section. The next one is, what do they eat? If you hear the answer to that, you're going to write it in that section. The next section says, how do they get their food? Pelicans have an interesting way that they get their food, and I think that that's something that is an important part of what a pelican is, so I want to see that in your writing. So if you hear anything about how they get their food, you can write it in the next section. The last section I left pretty big, and it says other cool facts. So you may want to include these in your final paper, you may not, but as you're listening, if you're like, that fact is super interesting, and I think I'm going to want to include that in my paper, go ahead and write it in that section. So I want to remind you that as we are filling this out, this is just for us to write down the information from the video. It is not about correct spelling, correct punctuation, capitalization. We are not worrying about any of that. We are just getting the information from the video onto paper. Now, it does, of course, need to be clear enough for you to be able to go back and read it later when you start writing your paper. But don't get so concerned about it. Just write it as fast as you can so that you can really be focused on the video. Another thing you can do is if you hear a piece of information in one of the videos that you want to write down, but you don't want to miss anything, just go ahead and pause the video and write it down and then continue to play the video. So have fun doing your pelican research. I think pelicans are super, super cool. So that's kind of why I picked them as one of our animals that we are going to have an option to research. Enjoy that. Enjoy filling out your graphic organizer. And if you are choosing pelicans and you filled out your graphic organizer, that is it for the day. That is our assignment. We will come back and work on our rough draft next time, but for right now, just work on doing your research. Another thing, if you finish going through my videos and my links and you realize you want more information about pelicans, you are also more than welcome to do your own research online to find out some more cool facts. Just make sure that you talk to your adult and make sure it's okay with them, and you're good to go. Have a great time doing your research and writing down your facts. I will see you later.